Following a heartbreaking end to the 97-98 season in which United ended trophyless, being pipped to the post by Arsenal in the league and exiting the FA Cup and Champions League, bowing out to Barnsley and Monaco respectively in the early stages of the competition, change needed to be made. United made a massive statement of intent in the transfer window of 1998, snapping up the likes of Jaap Stam, Jesper Blomqvist and Dwight York for a combined 28 million. The season began with the traditional curtain raiser of the Charity Shield, or Community Shield, and the early signs indicated that United were in for a disappointing season by our standards. A crushing 3-0 loss to Arsenal meant that United headed into the competitive season already playing mental catch-up with the Gunners. A comfortable 2-0 home win against Polish side Lodz in the second qualifying round of the Champions League meant United did head into the league season with at least a win under our belt and knew that they had practically secured their place in Europe for that season. United enjoyed a difficult start to the Premier League season, going down 2-0 at half-time to Leicester at Old Trafford on the opening day of the season, before Teddy Sheringham and David Beckham pull United level with 2 late goals in the final 10 minutes, definitely a sign of things to come. A goalless draw away at Upton Park with West Ham meant United were already playing catch-up as they sat 11th in the league after just 2 games. Another 3-0 loss to Arsenal followed as United could only settle for 5th by the end of September. It was around that time that United's European campaign kicked off, and the signs were ominous from the start. United were drawn in that year's group of death with Barcelona, Bayern Munich and Brøndby. A stunning 3-3 home draw to Barcelona was followed by a 2-2 in Munich against Bayern in the first of the 3 meetings between the sides. An entertaining start for the fans, but despite heroic efforts, United only had 2 points showing after the opening 2 group games. United's league form did fluctuate up until Christmas, swapping between 2nd and 3rd place in the league. The Reds did, however, manage to sit at the top of the table around mid-December following a 2-2 draw with Spurs. This coincided with United finishing 2nd in the Champions League group despite only winning 2 games. Another stellar 3-3 draw at the Nou Camp where we saw one of the best goals of the tournament through a sublimely taken Andy Cole effort, which was followed by a 1-1 draw against Munich at Old Trafford. This meant that a quarter-final showdown with Italian giants Inter Milan lay ahead for Manchester United. The new year saw a run of form which steered United on course to retake the Premier League title. The club were unbeaten for the second half of the season with memorable wins such as the 8-1 thrashing of Nottingham Forest and a 6-2 demolition of the opening day opponents Leicester City. United were on course to collect their 5th Premier League crown in 7 years. The final win over Spurs meant that the first third of the historic season had already been achieved. United were league champions despite unrelenting pressure from a wonderful Arsenal side. The club also embarked on their memorable FA Cup run in early 1999, dispatching the likes of Liverpool and Chelsea en route to a semi-final showdown with fierce rivals Arsenal. March and April 99 were 2 of some of the most memorable months in Manchester United history. A 0-0 draw meant that the clash with Arsenal was to go to a replay. A 30-yard strike from David Beckham brought Villa Park to its feet. The second half saw United on the back foot, allowing Dennis Bergkamp equaliser, and Roy Keane was even sent off for a second bookable offence, which saw United praying for extra time. Things were to reach a heart-stopping climax as a tired challenge from Phil Neville brought down Ray Parlour in the United area. Penalty Arsenal. United have been riding their luck for so many crucial games this season. Could they get one last stroke of luck to keep the treble dream alive? This is with Arsenal going for a double, mind you. Bergkamp steps up for his 2nd of the game. The fate of the treble rested on Peter Schmeichel's shoulders, and he saves it. The Great Dane sprang to his left to palm the Dutchman's effort before springing back up to his feet and shaking off the plaudits from his teammates urged United forward. The game had gone to extra time. In the 109th minute, substitute Ryan Giggs intercepted a shit pass from Vieira on the halfway line, splits the Arsenal defence before smashing it into the roof of David Seaman's net, in what to this day is considered one of the greatest goals in English football history. United dispatched Inter Milan with a confident 3-1 win on aggregate. The Italian job was not finished, however, as United now faced a semi-final clash with Juventus, the best team in the world. A dramatic last-minute equaliser from Ryan Giggs snatched a draw from the jaws of defeat in the first leg at Old Trafford, meaning United now face an uphill task of heading to Turin, to the Dead Alpi. With Juve having got that crucial away goal, things started disastrously. United found themselves 2-0 down in the opening 11 minutes, 3-1 down on aggregate. United needed someone to step up. Enter Roy Keane. Captain Roy Keane pulled back for United on 24 minutes and then embarked on one of the greatest individual performances that has ever been seen in a United shirt. For the energetic Andy Cole popped up 6 minutes from time to round off what was an astonishing comeback, securing United's first European Cup final since the famous win of '68. Full steam ahead, Barcelona. Things were not all positive for United heading into the final when captain Roy Keane and Paul Scholes picked up bookings in the semi that meant they were suspended for the final. United already had a tough task on our hands trying to overcome Bayern Munich. The FA Cup final proved to be an altogether more straightforward affair for United thanks to Paul Scholes and Teddy Sheringham sticking away early goals as United managed to rest a lot of players for what was to come in Barcelona the following week. United had already completed an impressive double, but the new camp lay ahead in what was the club's second chance at European glory, with the group stage opponents Bayern Munich standing in our way. 26th of May 1999 was the date, the new camp the venue, Bayern Munich the opposition. Nothing could separate these sides in the group games that predicated this much anticipated final. The suspension of Keane and Scholes meant that Sir Alex implemented a big change in tactics, bringing Beckham off the right into the centre, switching Giggs from left to right and sticking Blomqvist on the left wing. Beckham couldn't be effective in the middle, and that was one of the big downfalls of Manchester United. We lacked his crossing ability, and that forced York and Cole out of the game. Marco Basler's free kick 6 minutes into the game gave United the worst possible start as his effort snuck into the left-hand side of Schmeichel's goal. Bayern Munich went on to hit the woodwork twice more in what was a very one-sided game, with Mehmet Scholl hitting the post and Carsten Janker hitting the bar. In reaction to going a goal down, Ferguson managed to bring on Solskjaer and Sheringham. As the game went into injury time, Collina indicated there'd be 3 minutes left to play. In almost the last attack of the game, United won a corner, which Beckham took in. Goalkeeper Peter Schmeichel went up for it, caused havoc in the box. The ball was partially cleared by the Bayern Munich defence before being played back to Ryan Giggs on the edge of the box, who sent a low volley into the path of Sheringham, who scuffed a shot and squeezed it into the side net. United are level. Extra time, surely. Almost immediately after United equalised, we won another corner, again taken by Beckham. This time he landed the ball on the head of Sheringham, who nodded it into the path of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who poked it into the roof of the net. German goalkeeper Oliver Kahn remained motionless on his line. And Solskjaer has won it, exclaimed Clive Tilsley in the gantry. United had completed the comeback. Bayern had no time to restart the game, which Collina brought to a close just a few seconds later. The win sparked joyous celebrations on the pitch, with Schmeichel's cartwheel in his final game for the club becoming an iconic image that will live in the memory of United fans everywhere and mark the greatest ever season for an English club in history. United had cemented their place at the top of world football. We didn't realise at the time what it meant. I was 15 years of age, and I remember watching the final and thinking this was going to go on forever, that this treble was something that we would see United repeat again and again and again. It was 9 years that I had to wait for another opportunity to do that, and that now is 11 years ago. That was a special team. That is my favourite ever footballing team. It's a near perfect midfield. Ryan Giggs was the dribbler. David Beckham was the dead ball specialist and the guy that whipped in crosses. You had that controlled, sometimes, aggression of Roy Keane and the sublime footballing ability and brain of Paul Scholes. Ahead you had the most iconic duo in Cole and York, people that made you want to go and play football. The smile on Dwight York's face just shown how much he loved playing football in this team. At the back we had the mega underrated Ronnie Johnson alongside the absolute colossal Jaap Stam. We had Gary Neville fullback and the 8 out of 10 every week Dennis Irwin in front of Peter Schmeichel in goal. In terms of starting 11s, it's absolutely fantastic. But it was a squad game, and it was the squad players that came in the moment of need. Teddy Sheringham, man of the match in the FA Cup final. Teddy Sheringham, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the third and fourth choice strikers that season, coming in and playing their part. Executed beautifully by Sir Alex Ferguson to make an impact on that game. The likes of Jesper Blomqvist and Nicky Butt stepping up in the final to play their part as well. This truly was a squad achievement. And even though Roy Keane says that he's never won the Champions League, you better believe that Manchester United would not be anywhere near where he was if it wasn't for Roy Keane's involvement. So if you played 1 minute in that, or if you played every single minute without fail, you completely deserve your place in history. The greatest footballing team that England has ever seen. And I'm pretty biased, and I don't make any bones for it whatsoever, and I'll happily put it up against any football team that's ever taken a pitch. Can't believe it was 20 years ago. Feel well old.